Mark Tatum, Deputy Commissioner and COO of the National Basketball Association.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Dr. Richard Lapchick, thanks for being with us here on R&R on Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Civil rights icon, Dr. Edwards, how are you today?
I'm doing a heck of a lot better than I deserve, I'll tell you that.
Sports commentator, Scoop Jackson.
Good to be back on with you all.
Ian Griffey Jr., how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How about you guys?
It's R&R on Sports.
R&R on Sports. R&R on R&R.
Hello and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I'm the fantabulous one, Larry Robinson.
Now it's fantabulous.
Oh, yeah, it changes,
Mr. Fantabulous.
Welcome. It's all kinds of synonyms that we're going to use to just describe my greatness, my brother.
Okay.
You ought to know that because you sit next to me every week.
Give me another one.
Great.
See, I knew I'd trip you up.
Well, you know, I'm for a good Kentucky education.
Yeah,
man.
good Kentucky education. I hear you.
Man, I am tripping on the fact that the Denver Broncos sold for $4.65
billion. With a B.
What is going on in the NFL, man?
Hey, you got Walmart money.
You got Walmart money, man. That's long, tall paper, baby.
You know, that's Tracy.
Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan.
Say, yeah, he got Walmart money now.
Hey, he really got Walmart money.
Got hit by a Walmart truck. He got Walmart money.
But think about that for a second, man. The fact that the purchase of the Denver Broncos raised the value of NFL teams across the board,
like
selling a house,
like selling a house in the neighborhood.
The comps.
Yeah,
the comps. Wow,
that's exactly what they are. They're comps.
I mean, what must life be like to be walking around with $4.65 billion that you can just throw over there?
I can't, man. Listen, I would just lose my mind if I had that much money to pay to pay for.
I mean, that ain't what it
you got a lot more.
You got a lot more.
Yeah.
This is fun.
And see, that's what I try to tell young people. I know you tell young people this too, particularly your sons. But you know, we get too many of our young people get caught in what I call the sleight of hand game. We're looking at the hand that you could see. We're looking at the flash. And so the money that star athletes make and all of that, we just go all crazy for, oh, yes, that's why I want to go in the NFL or go in the NBA and all of that. However, please understand that the checks that they receive have somebody's name on the bottom of them. And 9 times out of 10, the person's name on the bottom of them cannot dribble or shoot a jump shot.
Right. Ain't even seen a jump shot.
Why do they have to shoot a jump shot? I pay you to do that.
Right.
And I got the money to pay you. And if I got the money to pay you, I can pay you. You ain't the only one playing out here.
Imagine that. How much money must you have to pay somebody $200 million for 5 years?
Yeah. Stupid money.
$200 million.
This kind of money.
Yeah.
This kind of money.
Now that's when we're talking about long, tall paper right there.
So, but you know, one of the things that we want to talk more about is all of a sudden ownership became more diverse because the first African-American woman ever is now a
I don't understand that.
Of the Denver Broncos.
Kudos to Melanie Hobson, but wasn't it just announced a couple years ago that Venus and Serena had an equity stake in the Miami Dolphins? So if they were owners of the Miami Dolphins, what happened and why is Melody is so much different?
I don't know. Perhaps they were part of a group. Perhaps we're talking layers.
Okay.
Perhaps we're talking layers and they weren't as direct as Melody is, because you know.
Oh, so they paraded Gloria Estefan and what was it, Jennifer Lopez and all of them that was supposed to be owners of the Miami Dolphins. They just kind of did a trick.
I don't know.
A sleight of hand thing again.
That's a great question. and of which I don't have an answer to. So let's look that up. But I just heard that this makes Melody Hobson the first. Hey,
kudos to Melody.
You know.
Kudos to Melody. So listen, we got an amazing show.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this whole DE&I thing as it affects pro sports and whatnot when we come back. Because it's important.
Absolutely.
Some folks are doing, some leagues are doing better than others. Only here on R&R on Sports. We will be back for more after this.
Your boy Chris Brown.
David West, Golden State Warriors. Hey, this is Dr. J.
This is Shaq Adocious.
Yo, what's up? This is Ice Cube.
And you're listening to a little R&R on Sports.
Blues in the basement. Hello.
And the lyrics of the blues songs, like Bobby Rush, can sometimes be a little risque. We just got the music on.
Blues.
Instrumentals.
Loving it.
I don't care if you're young or old.
Blues in the Basement.
Get together, let the good time roll.
Part of the Kazukian Network.
Welcome to another edition of Fly on the Wall. Recently, there was a meeting between Roger Goodell of the NFL and his public relations team about his future as commissioner of the National Football League. And now, listen in as you become a fly on the wall.
Hey guys, thanks for getting together on such short notice. Of course, you know the situation and...
Shut up, Pete. That's very rude. Let him finish.
Well, I'm just saying, things don't look so rosy.
You're right, and that's why you're here, because I need to know just how we need to spin this thing.
Come on, Raj. You're toast, man. So however we spin it, we've got to spin you out of there. Either you resign or get sacked.
But how do I keep my good name?
You're good. What?
Shut up, Pete. That's more rude than before. But I think I got something. You're going to resign because guess what? Huh? You're blind. You can't see. You didn't see anything. The video or anything else. So you're resigning from the NFL to be a blind singer. Why should Stevie Wonder and Jose Feliciano be the only ones? We can call you Roger Charles, Ray's distant white cousin.
What?
Come on, try this. I got a woman.
I got a
way
woman.
Across town. She's good to me. Now try this. Baby, good. What I say.
Baby, what I say.
Baby, what I say right now.
Baby, what I say.
We'll get it together. Right. We'll get it together. Look, Pete, you still got Jay-Z's number?
Yeah, I got it. Just talk to Jay.
Call him. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. Come on. I got a woman.
I got a woman.
Oh, Lord.
Hello?
Hey, Jay-Z. Listen, man, I'm calling with Roger Goodell, man. He's going to be the next great. Listen to this. I got a woman.
I got a woman.
Way across town. She's good to me. Baby, it's going to be dynamic, man. It's going to be fantastic, but we need you to produce it, man.
Hey, B, put Blue down. Come on over and listen to this. Hey.
I got a woman.
I got a woman.
Way across town.
Way over there.
We can get it together in the mix, man.
Well, I got a woman way over town that's good to me. Oh, yeah. Say, I got a woman way over town good to me. Oh, yeah. She give me money.
Riffin' on jazz.
So all the artists today must be ladies.
Must be.
Oh, my favorite.
You got a problem?
No, that's my favorite.
See, I knew.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kazukian Network. Kazukian.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. So our crack research team, not research team on crack, but our crack research team found out that indeed Venus and Serena were the first African American women to be minority owners
of a
professional football team. But but Melody Hobson is apparently the first African American woman to be part owner, and the difference is your stake of ownership in the respective team.
Well, you know,
it does make a difference.
She is a financial guru and has done exceptionally well. In addition to that, she married well as well. So you go look up Melanie Hobson's husband, but we're gonna talk about Melanie right now. Melody. We're going to talk about her because of what she's been able to accomplish. Melody has done a lot of groundbreaking things in her lifetime. And I can only say that being a part owner of the Denver Broncos means that she's probably going to have a say at the table, where I don't think that Venus and Serena are more than I don't think they got a whole lot of say.
Well, in the
governance of the team.
Right. She should, because she is a consummate professional in her industry, which is investments and finance and all of that.
Yeah. So
an owner.
Yes. Well, it's amazing. It's amazing where, we're getting more information that, Melanie is considered an owner of the team, whereas Venus and Serena were considered investors.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. And
Absolutely.
that she's going to have an active role.
Absolutely.
She should.
Look at Walmart. Look at Walmart. If you have stock in Walmart, you are you're an investor.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
However, your name ain't Walton,
right?
So you ain't no owner.
You got some C-series stock,
yeah.
But no, with Melanie, I mean, she's been board of Starbucks. I mean, she's done some amazing things. But I mean, let's talk about this football thing, because it seems like the NFL is going backwards as it relates to diversity after the Rooney Rule. I mean, how many coaches do we have in NFL now? 4?
4 out of 32. Yes. Major League Baseball has 2 out of 30. National Hockey League has 0 out of 32. And only
4 total coaches that are in all of the NHL. They only have 4 coaches that are black.
Yeah,
of any level,
assistant coaches,
right. So I mean, we got a problem, man, because here we are in the NFL, but what I'm angry about is that the players have to say something. The players aren't saying anything. The players aren't demanding change.
Well, I want to show you. I want to show you something.
I
want to show you something. Look at this. NFL has 4 head coaches out of 32. The National Hockey League has 4 total coaches out of 32. So
32 teams.
Out of 32 teams. Now, you take a sport that we don't play.
Right.
Typically.
Right.
Okay. And they have as many total coaches as the NFL, a sport that we play extensively and make up the majority of the players.
Right.
And we only have 4 head coaches out of 32.
But I think what to me, the issue is the players. The issues are the leadership of the Players Association, because obviously the players aren't saying anything. The players aren't making any demands. And the NFL obviously is continuing to grow in value, and they're not, the players are really not interrupting this growth by making the statements about Black representation from a head coaching perspective. So this has not become a part of their conversation. And they're the ones that's most affected by it. So therefore, why should it really be a part of ours? Because I'm really disappointed in the fact that, we're sitting out here riding. I'm sitting out riding for players to make a difference and for Black representation, boycotting, so on and so forth. but yet and still, I'm
not hearing
any player. There's not one Draymond Green in the NFL, a Draymond Green type of player that's willing to talk about these tough issues. And shout out to Draymond Green of the Golden State Warriors, because he's tackling the tough issues.
Okay, so what do you attribute that lack of participation and advocacy to?
Well, I think that the NFL players, the easy thing to say was they all got CTE, but but I think it's a situation where, you know, there's not a lot as much popularity. I mean, because they're in the uniforms and in the helmets. And I just don't think, and I think because of the amount of players on a team, I mean, you got probably 70 players on a football team, if you take the practice squad and everything else. And I just don't think they see themselves as individually strong enough to make those statements. And then with NFL contracts not being guaranteed 100%, you know, it's easy to be cut.
They're trying to keep their job.
Well, look at Kaepernick.
Absolutely.
Look at Kaepernick.
Absolutely.
And
they're trying to keep their job.
Yeah. And so
everybody ain't a change agent. Everybody ain't going to the wall. But you got somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% of the players in the NFL that can't go undiscussed in the fact that you know, this makes up the whole league, and they're making billions off of these brothers. And nobody in administration. And these brothers ain't complaining.
I think they got one. I think they got maybe one or two
about those contracts. They're not complaining about those contracts.
Isn't it a shame?
Hey, man.
That literally everybody else's contracts are guaranteed. NFL players aren't, and they taking a more punishment, beating.
Shut up,
and
play,
everything,
and cash your check.
There we go. And I guess that's where we are with it, because I'd like to see somebody in the NFL really. But once again, I mean, they've been able to just basically cut out Colin Kaepernick. Nobody came to his defense. They've been able to prevent.
Did we talk about?
Well, hold on. They even had it, you know, because we ain't even talking about. There's only one or two black GMs in the NFL.
Yeah,
or seven black GMs in the NFL. So there's more black GMs
than coaches.
Now that's an interesting phenomenon.
Absolutely.
We need to discuss that. We need to find somebody from the NFL that's willing to discuss that topic with us.
We're talking about DE&I here on
Sports,
R&R on Sports, and we have a phenomenal guest. You stick around. This is a guy that is helping change the whole context and complexion of NASCAR. His name is Phil Horton. He's here with us on R&R on Sports. You can hear him right after this.
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Avery Sunshine, I am just overjoyed to spend some time with you.
Listen, what you know about pot liquor? You from Memphis, so you know.
My favorite part of all of that, you know, I'm like, don't throw that away.
Human Speed with Kirk Whalum.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports.
Back.
Yes.
We are back, brother. We back.
Yeah. You still trying to do the falsetto thing.
Well, you know, me and Smokey been working on it. Me and Smokey he's been taking me to classes, and we've been doing it through Zoom.
But it's not happening.
Tears of a cloud.
When are you gonna stop? When are you gonna quit? Just give it up.
No, he said I'm improving.
Quit lying on.
Come on, man. We got a guess.
We are welcome. We are thrilled to have with us today on R&R on Sports, Mr. Phil Horton, Director of Athletic Performance, currently pit crew coach for Drive for Diversity crew member development. Now, and we have talked a little bit about this on past shows, but first of all, welcome to R&R on Sports, Brother Horton.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. As we, Larry, have talked a little bit before about the NASCAR has really, really gotten into this thing where they have recruited, not are, but they still are, but they have recruited elite athletes to become part of.
Well, hold on. Before you go there, though, I want to get into some of your background, Phil.
We're going to get there.
Oh, well, I mean, you're taking too damn long. So come on. You're taking too long, man.
Well, I'm going to quit. This is my last broadcast. Anyway, recruiting elite athletes to become part of the pit crews. That is part of your responsibility. And yes, let's get into your background. And then we're going to work our way up to how you do what you do. So let's start. Give us a Cliff Notes version of Mr. Phil Horton's background.
Well, basically, my original background was as an athletic trainer, sports medicine. Graduated from North Carolina A&T back in 1983. Went on to become an athletic trainer. I went to grad school at Michigan State. I was a football trainer. Got a chance to work with Nick Saban as when I was assigned to as an athletic trainer to his linebacker corps for a couple seasons. And I got a chance to watch him coach, which would come into play later on when I decided to be a coach. And then from there, I went to become the head athletic trainer at Florida A&M. From 1985 to 90 under the late coach Rudy Hubbard, and then later with Ken Riley, former player with the Cincinnati Bengals, and then from there I went to the University of Memphis for almost.
Wait! You was in Memphis. You was in the Memphis.
Yep. I was a head football trainer. Served with Chuck Stobart when he did his stint there back in the early 90s, and then moved from there to be the assistant trainer and strength coach with the Milwaukee Bucks for about 5 years, and 5 long losing years. It wasn't the Bucks better now. But
that was during that was Paul Pressey time, wasn't it?
No, it was after that. That was the Glenn Robinson, Todd Day. Years.
Those were some feudal years right there.
That was a tough go, but it taught me. It was a great experience. It didn't teach me enough to be able to stay in the league and become a head trainer or a strength coach in the league because we really weren't winning. And so then I started my own company, Athletic Training Concepts. Moved back to North Carolina, where I'm from, back to racing country. And I grew up a fan of racing. My background was my father, the late Carl Horton, and my brother Terry Horton. Terry owned his own service station, so I grew up pumping gas and wanting to be a mechanic. And we were racing fans. I was introduced.
How did you get into racing, Phil? What attracted you to racing? Because it wasn't many of us in racing.
Well, I was a fan, like I said, from the time I was 10 years old. But of course, I went to stick and ball route into sports medicine and the strength and conditioning. But when I started my own company, Athletic Training Concepts, I got the chance to work with a race car driver by the name of Ernie Irvin. I became his personal trainer, his strength coach, and his athletic trainer. And that's how I got into racing. After I left the Bucks, started my own business, started working with him. He was one of my biggest clients. And since I was a fan of the sport and knew the sport, I knew as much about him as he knew because I was a fan. So then I started working with the pit crew. A crew chief by the name of Ryan Pemberton asked me, would I take a look at the pit stops? And being with my sports background, he said, well, can you help us get faster? We want to be fast at these pit stops. And there were just a bunch of mechanics, that wanted to be athletes and wanted to perform. So I started working with them, and this was like 90, 99, 2000. So I realized that, they really didn't know the athletic side of it. So I came up with my own philosophy, myself and a couple more individuals, one by the name of Mike Houston. And we really brainstormed this thing and came up with our own philosophy on how to do pit stops, how to teach mechanics, how to be athletic. And
Okay.
of course, they got better, they got faster, and my business took off.
Okay, so
well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me ask you this. And by the way, this is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Phil Horton, strength and conditioning leader for Rev Racing. So I'm curious as to why would a driver need to have a trainer?
Right. Well, you know, that's always been one of the questions by the people that are not familiar with the sport. You know, you think about it. Try driving from Memphis to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about maybe 500 miles, maybe. Yeah.
About 500
Try doing
miles.
that. Try doing that in 3.5 hours at about 190 miles an hour, around 40 under drivers. Try doing that without being in shape.
You got to be in some shape.
Right.
You got to be in shape because it's hard for us to drive from Memphis to Charlotte in 11 hours. It's tiresome.
Right.
You know.
So okay, so you have been a trainer for multiple sports. What kind of shape do you have to be in? What's driver shape?
Great question. The cardiovascular part of it, the stamina and the upper body strength you have to actually make that all work and be able to focus. See, when your body gets tired, you can't focus. You lose mental focus.
Okay,
so then even though you are a great driver, but you're tired, your arms are tired, we call it falling out of the seat. You know,
falling out of the
car
seat
itself, the cockpit inside the car is like 130 degrees. Now they have
so you hot
air
and you
conditioning.
got on all this stuff.
Yeah, right. So then you have to be, and of course, before they got air conditioned helmets, you had to be acclimated to the heat, or you'd simply fall out.
Yeah, you faint.
So then the cardiovascular, being able to have the stamina to withstand the heat and to be able to concentrate, makes them in their own world an athlete, because without it, you just pass out. The average person would literally pass out in about an hour of trying to drive a car at those speeds and dealing with the competition that they're around and what all goes with it. They would lift you out of the car in about 30-40 minutes. You wouldn't even
back in the day before the helmets were air conditioned, were there literally wrecks because somebody just passed out driving?
Well, nobody would admit it, but I'm sure there were. But actually, you know, they drove all the time. You know, they raced 2 or 3 nights a week in this heat. They got acclimated within a week, within 2 weeks, they were acclimated to it. So they were already used to doing it. They already knew how to get in shape. They got in shape by racing. They got in shape by driving. Sometimes, you know, they would take a regular passenger car and when the season started and roll up the windows and just drive around for a couple of days, sweating in the car, you know, until they got acclimated. You know, it's kind of like football. You know, you got to practice in that heat. All the coaches
absolutely
in that heat for a minimum of 7 days until you get used to it, so that you could be able to play the game. Same thing.
Hey, Coach, what type of diet? This is the last question of this segment, but what type of diet must a driver have in order to be in peak headspace for them to be able to drive before a big race?
Well, they need those carbohydrates. You know, whatever comes with that. You know, whichever way that they can acquire that. You know, and each individual has their own way of doing it, but carbohydrates are big. You know, you need the water supplementation. You need to drink that water 2 days, you know, before the event. You know, you have to be hydrated. You know, you have to stay away from the alcohol, and you have to get your rest. You have to get your rest. So those, you know, and with today's diet plans and what people eat today, a lot of times that falls short because people are not eating 6-course meals anymore. You know, they're just eating a little bit here and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and they call it a diet, which is not. But the body is very strong. It adapts to whatever you're doing, but you have to have the carbohydrates, you have to have the hydration, and you have to have the rest.
All right.
Driver.
We're talking to Phil Horton, pit crew coach for Drive for Diversity Crew Rev Racing here on R&R on Sports.
But guess what we're going to talk about when we come back? his relationship with Penny Hardaway.
Okay. All right. All right. When we come back for more R&R on Sports right after this.
Hey, I'm Williams Brack, co-host of Grind Set. The insight you gain from us and our guests will motivate you to take the leap into entrepreneurship. So stay with us. What's your grind set? And if you happen to miss some of our episodes, make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast provider.
Grind Set on the Kadzukian Network.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports. Phil Horton is our guest, and we are finding out all that we did not know about racing and NASCAR and driver shape. He's a trainer. He's an athletic trainer and has trained for all sports. And he's given us tremendous insight on what it takes to be a great driver. And we're going to talk about pit crew.
Hold on. Is there a such thing as a fat NASCAR driver?
yeah, there are, but especially back in the day, there was a lot of them. But they still reached. They still reached a level of fitness that allowed them to drive. One of the things that is unique to a race car driver, they have a great cardiovascular system because they learn how to control their heart rate at an early age. And what it is they don't get excited. They don't get carried away when certain things happen out on the track. But when you learn to not do that, your heart rate doesn't kick in. And when your heart rate doesn't kick in, you are able to bring in the necessary oxygen that it takes to have that endurance. They can go from a race car, get on a treadmill without ever doing the treadmill.
Right.
And do very good. That's why a lot of them are marathon runners and are capable of doing that. Not so much from their athletic side of it, but from the ability to control that heart rate and bring in the oxygen that you need to keep going. It's called a Krebs cycle. It's a little
Is there a weight limit?
We don't want them. You don't want to be obese. There's an unwritten weight limit. Now, like in Formula One, there's definitely a weight limit. IndyCar, definitely. But in NASCAR,
it's what, like what?
Well, I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but the drivers, they don't need. There's no 250-pound race car drivers. 260 pounds.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it, brother.
You can't even fit in the seat.
No, you couldn't do it.
You can't fit in the seat. You can't fit in the seat, and it's kind of like you have to be a jockey. I mean, you are of that.
You are in a manner of speaking, you are a jockey.
You are a jockey, right.
Wow.
Wow.
Man, America, this is Phil Horton of Rev Racing, the lead athletic trainer for Rev Racing, this whole diversity initiative at NASCAR, and we have him here today on R&R.
So was it your idea? And if it wasn't, just go and take credit for it, because I want to know that we're talking to the one whose idea it was originally. Was it your idea that great athletes would make great crew, pit crew?
No, it wasn't my idea. I was in the NBA at the time that it started. It started with a racing team by the name of Hendrick Motorsports. Ray Everham.
I've heard of him,
Yeah, Ray Everham, Andy Papathanasil. They were the first ones to start using athletes as pit crewmen. So it was not my idea. What was my idea was to basically take athletes, and come up with a philosophy for athletes to do the racing. In other words, in other words, they were already bringing in athletes, high school, some college athletes to be pit crewmen. But what they didn't have was a philosophy for those athletes to become pit crewmen. So what I did was, being from football, being from basketball, I stripped away the athletic, the stick and ball philosophy, and came up with a racing philosophy of how to be a pit crewman. That's my contribution to the sport, because it really wasn't working. We had to come up with a template of what type of athlete is good for the positions as a pit crewman. You know, you can't have a linebacker that's a changer, because a changer position, the ones that actually change the tires, that's a finesse position. So we had to develop that. The carrier, the carrier, the one that throws the tires on, they're the linebacker type. Right.
Oh my goodness.
And then of course the jack man, he has to be sort of a large fella, you know, back in the day. So you know, to be able to jack the 3,000 or so pound car.
Right.
With speed. So we with from the ergonomics of movement, and then also there was a way to run around the car. There's a way to get to the car, the way to get down, to get in position to do it. And just because you're an athlete, you have to learn those techniques. So we came up with like 8 fundamental techniques of how to pit a car, and we taught that, and I coached that. You know, this is how you do this to be successful at it.
What's the target time? What's the target time for a pit stop?
Target now is about 9 seconds.
9 seconds? And what happens in that 9 seconds?
4 tires, 9 seconds to change 4 tires. And there's been like a couple of sub-9s to change 4 tires. And
refuel the car.
Wait, hold.
You gotta change 4 tires.
What are you saying? 9 seconds to do all of that?
Yeah, well, and back when I got into it, it was about 16 seconds, and we got that down by using the ergonomics of movement and bringing in athletes. We got that down to about 13 seconds. Well, actually about 12 seconds, and then we changed, and then of course they went from the 5 lug hits to the 1 hub, and so that shaved off another 2 seconds. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, amazing. And so that's down to about 9 seconds.
That's amazing.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. Listen, this is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Phil Horton of Diversity Racing, Rev Racing, and you've started a next generation of pit crew members. There's another Horton coming along. Let everybody know what he's doing.
My son, Marcus Horton, he is the tire changer for Kurt Busch, number 45, Monster Energy, Jordan brand team. They got their first win in Kansas about a month ago, and he's doing really well. Yep.
How did that make you feel when he got his first win?
Oh, that was a proud moment. That was like passing the torch, even though I didn't go over the wall as a pit crewman, you know, being the coach and everything, and then bringing him into the sport and him being successful at it. That was big. That was big. That was a bucket list type of thing once he decided to get into it and to accomplish that. And he's won in all 3 series. He's won with in the Truck Series, in the Xfinity Series, and now in the Cup Series, which is, you know,
racing in the Horton blood, man. Racing's in the blood. That's DNA.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Awesome. So
no, I was just going to ask, like, is there any truth to? I want to throw it back a little bit. Is there any truth to the fact that individuals like Wendell Scott and other black racers, car racers, would actually win races back in the day, and they wouldn't allow them to win in front of everybody, but they would actually allow people to leave and then call them up and say, yeah, you actually won. Here's your trophy.
That happened one time. That happened one time in the 60s when Wendell won in Jacksonville.
Wendell Scott?
Yep, Wendell Scott won, and they knew, you know, they knew that it would be hell to pay if they announced him as the winner. So then the track promoter decided not to do that. They announced somebody else, and then they called, but Wendell knew he won it. And they called him in, you know, afterwards after everybody left, and gave him his prize money, but he didn't get the trophy till later on.
He didn't get to kiss the girl. He didn't get to kiss the girl or get the milk or none of that.
You're talking about the South and the East.
Kiss the girl.
Yeah, he get to kiss the girl. You know.
Yeah, what you think?
You better not even look at the girl.
That's exactly right.
So yeah, that's real. That's a true story.
What girl?
Look it up. Look at the, yeah. That's a true. NASCAR has since presented him with a trophy last year, his family and family members, and tried to, write and, You know,
they just rectified that last year.
Yep, rectified it last year. Yeah.
So, as my grandma would say, just between us chickens, how, in your opinion, is the diversity, the whole diversity push going in NASCAR, particularly given the culture of NASCAR previously? What do you see?
So based on what I'm getting ready to tell you, you know, the culture and the what people perceived and how people felt about it was real. What Wendell went through was real. What the other black drivers went through, Randy Bethea, some of the other ones that came, Willie T. Ribbs, that was real. You know, I'm from the South. I grew up in a small town, Lenoir, North Carolina. You know, and I know racism firsthand. And you know what you hear is pretty true. You know, those things occurred. Those things happened. What has transpired? What is and so NASCAR was then and still is a microcosm of the South. You know, it's a microcosm of the racism that goes on in this country, in any industry. You know, I mean, the NBA has it, the NFL has it. You know, the even though the athletes are predominantly black, you know, the front office isn't. You know, and there's a glass ceiling. You know, for athletes, for administrators, for pit crewmen. Yeah, I mean, all of that still exists. That is real, and that's and that's what's going on in the country. It still continues, you know, and we still have a long way to go with that.
And what's your role? What's your role in changing that narrative in NASCAR?
So when I got into the sport, coming from the NBA, coming in as an athletic trainer, I was like a individual that basically pulled the thorn out of individuals' paws. Right, I helped them get better. They got hurt. I came up with solutions on them to get them better. I wasn't I was in healthcare. I was a trainer, right? And so I wasn't a threat. So when I got into it, you know, I was welcomed, you know, especially coming from the NBA. Now, when I got into the coaching part of it, you know, I was placed in a position to actually lead individuals, you know, that were not used to being led by an African American. So then things begin to change, you know, and you could see some of the resentment. You could see some of the attitudes and things change because my role changed. You know, at a one time, I was the only African American in a competition role on pit road. There's a photograph that I like to show that shows that, because somebody took a picture of the entire sport lined up for the national anthem, and I'm the only one. And that's not because anybody was trying to keep us out. We were not trying to get into it. We're still not trying to break down the door, you know, because of the perception, you know. But after I'd been in the sport for 6 or 7 years, there was a push. A gentleman by the name of Max Siegel came to the sport as the president of DEI, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, and he was the first African American to be a president of a major race.
Max has been on our show. Max has been on the show. Out of Indianapolis. Max has done a lot of things.
Exactly right, and of course he's the CEO of USA Track and Field now, and he owns Rev Racing. And he told me once he came into the sport, he said, "Hey, I'm really him and Reggie White, the former Green Bay Packer, great.
He used to be Reggie's agent. Yeah,
right. Reggie was a big racing fan, and so he and Max came up with the idea of diversifying the sport. And since I was already in it, about 7 years into it, Max tabbed me to be the director of athletic performance. Because of my background in it and all the teams that I'd worked with. I'd done work with all the big teams, the driver, Dale Jarrett, Juan Pablo Montoya, Sterling Moreland, Todd Bodine, just to name a few. So I knew the sport. And so once I took over the program, and as far as from the pit crew and of course training the drivers, that initiative was to really increase minorities, introduce it to minorities, take it to minorities, take it to blacks, take it to women, take it to Hispanics, anybody that wanted to be in it. Our job was to make it, to create an avenue for them to actually do that. And that's what we've done over the last 15 years.
Phil, if a young man is listening to this show and he really wants to try to get his foot in the door in NASCAR, what would you recommend?
Well, first of all, we would definitely like them to be a fan of the sport. A lot of people want to come into the sport because of the money that's in the sport now,
right.
Because our say a athlete wants to continue his athletic ways of his athletic career, but you have to have a love for the sport. You have to like racing. You have to like cars, and that's one prerequisite, but not everybody that's in it. They come in it for the money to continue their athletic careers, and they learn to love it. But it is an acquired taste, and so they would basically call me up, they would say, Coach Horton, I'd like to, I'm thinking about, wanting to be a pit crewman, and call me up. I like phone calls, I get the emails, I tell them to call me, I get the texts, call me. So it's really just call me.
Just go to Rev Racing, and look up Phil Horton. He's there on the website, and connect with him if you are interested in learning more about being.
We will have a one-on-one talk. I'll lay it all out for them and show them the way. Maybe it is the way, maybe it's not. But we've had about 120 people coming to the program. About 75 have actually lasted and made it and found a career in the sport. There are currently 55 individuals in the program now, and there's about 32 on the major level. And we generate about $2.5 million in salary for those pit crewmen throughout the sport. So that's like a minimum of 60 to 70,000 and a high of about 175.
Wow.
So we like to think of ourselves as one of the most progressive diversity programs in the world.
Well, I like to say in Memphis, Tennessee, from all indications of these knuckleheads driving around the interstate with these souped up, I know a lot of them that think that they could be race car drivers and would be safer. Everybody would be safer if they were on a track.
Right. Well, now the driving program's a little different. It's just like football and basketball. You need to start. You don't have to, but you need to start in a young age. And definitely before you're 15 years old. And for all the ones that are 21 and 22, it's a little too late for them. Unless they got a whole lot of money. It's still, you can buy your way into the sport in any form of racing. But for you to be successful, you really have to start early in life to actually make that happen.
Wow.
And the costs are tremendous. We have a young driver by the name of Roger Caruth now, of course, that is really coming through the ranks and is doing really well. He started out in iRacing. And we have brought him through the late model program. He's in the ARCA series now. You need to look him up. He's the next Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is in right now.
Yeah.
And so, but he's the next Bubba Wallace, and we're looking for big things from him.
All right.
Well, listen, we got one thing before he left. He has a connection with Memphis, Tennessee. And Phil, can you just share with everybody your connection with Memphis and your connection to Penny Hardaway?
Well, at the time I was the head football trainer at Memphis State as it was then, and I got a call in the middle of the night that unfortunately Penny had been shot. Shot in the foot, and so once we got all that straightened out and everything, I had the chance to actually work with him in his rehab, and I got to know him really well, and then I subsequently left and went on to Milwaukee, and I used to send Penny back some Milwaukee Bucks gear and stuff. And then when he, of course, made it with Orlando, we stayed in contact, and that's pretty much how it went. You know,
that's awesome.
A lot of folks don't know that story about Penny.
Yeah, and well, of course he overcame
hanging out with the wrong cats. Yeah,
and of course he's doing great. Now I follow the University of Memphis, and I'm very proud of what he has done.
Right,
fantastic.
Right.
Well, Phil,
thank you for being here with us on R&R on Sports. We appreciate you. We appreciate the perspective, man. I mean, because this is very, very unique. And stick around. We're going to be back to you.
Yeah, we're going to
hope to have you on future shows because we want to start keeping closer track of NASCAR and what's happening in the sport.
And when you want to come to a race, you just let me know. We'll get you in the garage area.
Hey.
All right. We're gonna have to do R&R. We're gonna do R&R from North Carolina. And
cars whizzing by.
Yeah. Racing's a great game. NASCAR's doing a very good job. We have a long way to go. We haven't reached the finish line yet, but we're definitely on the right path. Things are going well.
All right. And we will be back for more R&R on Sports.
Riffin' on jazz.
So all the artists today must be ladies.
Must be.
Oh, my favorite.
You got a problem?
No, that's my favorite.
See, I knew.
Riffin' on jazz on the Kazookian Network.
Welcome back to R&R on Sports as we head toward the door.
Arrivederci.
So I ain't got nothing to say. You got a whole list of stuff. Go ahead. Go for it.
I'm shouting out my top 10. My top 10 players of all time.
Who asked?
In order.
Who asked you?
Number 1, Jordan. Number 2, LeBron. Number 3, Magic Johnson. Number 4, Bill Russell. Number 5, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 6, Kobe. Number 7, Wilt Chamberlain. Number 7, Bird. Number 8,
No.
Duncan.
You did 7 twice.
Okay, well, 8, Bird. Number 9, Duncan. And number 10, that's Shaquille O'Neal. Now, where would Steph Curry fit in any of that? Who he gonna replace in any of that? Tell me who's he gonna replace? So we gonna take off Jordan? He gonna take off LeBron? He gonna take off Kareem? He gonna take off Magic? He gonna take off Russell? He gonna take off Bird? He gonna take off Kobe? He gonna take off Wilt? He gonna take off Duncan? Take off Shaq? Who is he replacing? He ain't even winning MVP on his own team. Man, get this dude out of here.
Why did your voice go up 3 octaves? Why is
because I was raised by a black woman in the
Why is it I can see your petticoat?
Hey man, listen, bro. Listen. Tell me who are you going to
I ain't trying to replace.
Okay, tell me who. Tell me who.
Getting involved in that,
Larry.
Larry.
Is he replacing?
I'm not getting involved in that.
In that tent, you saying that they
and Jeremy have conspired up on a dadgum list. Y'all been working on this stuff for 2 weeks. I ain't about to say nothing about that.
No, tell me who is he replacing?
Do I look like an FUEL to you?
Tell me who he's replacing in those 10.
You're saying
you saying they got the chisels out. Who's he replacing?
31, 30, 29. We got 27 seconds left. I don't have time. I would, but I don't have time to address this.
You don't?
No.
So we're going to do it next time?
Next show.
Next show?
Next show.
All right.
We're talking about R&R on Sports. We are so glad that you are listening to us, despite all this foolishness and craziness that you have heard over the last hour. You are still with us, hopefully. We appreciate you being with us. Tune in next week for more foolishness.
So it's gonna be some furniture moving. I'm highly upset. I'm highly upset and bothered.
It's gonna be on and
I'm highly upset and bothered.
Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.
You better hope somebody take care of Uncle Howard in here.
Say goodbye.
Goodbye. You've been listening to a little R&R on Sports, written and produced by Howard Robertson, Larry Robinson, recorded and mixed in Memphis, Tennessee.